America has 3,143 counties. Some have more people than entire countries. Los Angeles County has 9.76 million residents. That is more than the population of Switzerland. And then there is Loving County, Texas. 48 people. Same level of government, same county elections, same offices to fill, same democracy, just not enough voters to run it. You have heard of ghost towns, abandoned main streets, rusted signs, tumbleweeds. Content creators love ghost towns. What nobody talks about are ghost counties. Entire regions of the United States where the county government technically exists, the courthouse still has the lights on, but the population would not fill a mid-size restaurant. There are counties in this country where one family feud can swing an entire election. Counties where oil wells outnumber residents 10 to 1. Counties so empty that the nearest grocery store is in another county and the nearest hospital might as well be in another time zone. And here is what makes this different from a ghost town video. Ghost towns are historical curiosities. Ghost counties are active American governments, collecting taxes, holding elections, maintaining roads, and trying to operate a democracy with fewer people than your local bowling league. In 2024, 50 U.S. counties crossed 1 million residents for the first time in history. Meanwhile, at the other end of the spectrum, dozens of counties are slipping further below 500 people. Rural America gained a tiny amount of population overall in 2023, about 0.3%. But the emptiest counties are not part of that rebound. They are still shrinking. What happens when democracy itself does not have enough voters? Picture this: a county the size of a small state, a courthouse built with oil money, marble floors, pecan paneling, an election where 11 votes is a landslide, and a man from Indiana who decided he could buy enough land to take the whole thing over. That is not a movie pitch. That is number 1 on this list. Subscribe like your vote depends on it. Let's break it down. Number 10, Hinsdale County, Colorado. Hinsdale County has been called the most remote county in the contiguous United States, and it earns the title. Tucked into the San Juan Mountains of southwestern Colorado, it is almost entirely national forest and wilderness. The county has one town, Lake City, with a population of roughly 400. That's the town, not the county. The county has 813 people total, spread across over 1,100 square miles. Median home prices in Lake City run around $350,000, which sounds almost normal until you realize there is no hospital, no chain grocery store, and the nearest city of any size is Gunnison, about an hour and a half north on mountain roads that close in winter. The economy runs on ranching, tourism, and people who specifically want to be far away from everything. The county government operates on a skeleton crew. Here's the thing about Hinsdale: it is not dying. It has just never been alive in the way most Americans think of a county. The 2020 census counted 782 people. The 2024 estimate is 813. It is technically growing. I am not saying Hinsdale County is isolated. I am just saying if you need a cardiologist, you might want to start driving yesterday. And if the most remote county in the lower 48 sounds extreme, the next one used to be the wildest mining town in America. Number 9, Mineral County, Colorado. Creede, Colorado was once so wild that Bat Masterson ran a saloon there, and a man named Bob Ford, the man who shot Jesse James, was himself shot and killed at his own tent saloon in 1892. During the silver boom of the 1890s, Creede had over 10,000 residents, multiple newspapers, and a reputation so rough that a local poet wrote, "The town did not have a thing to its name but a silver mine and a prayer." Today, Mineral County has 721 people. Creede is the only town, 95% of the county's land is publicly owned, mostly national forest. You cannot develop it, you cannot farm it, and you cannot build subdivisions on it. The county government manages what amounts to a 5% sliver of land with a handful of residents. Median household income is around $45,000. Property values fluctuate wildly because there simply are not enough transactions to establish a stable market. Mineral County did not collapse. It boomed, it busted, and then just never came back. And that boom to bust pattern shows up again and again on this list. The next entry took the concept of emptiness to a different level entirely. Number 8. Harding County, New Mexico. Harding County has a population density of 0.33 people per square mile. To put that in perspective, the average New York City block has more people than this entire county. Named after President Warren G. Harding, the county was established in 1921 and peaked in population during the 1930s. It's been sliding ever since. The county seat is Mosquero, a town of roughly 100 people, surrounded by shortgrass prairie that stretches to the horizon in every direction. Median home prices are remarkably low, often under $100,000, but there is almost nothing available to buy because there is almost nobody selling. The nearest hospital is in Tucumcari or Las Vegas, New Mexico, both about an hour's drive on 2-lane highways. What it feels like is a county that time and economics simply moved past. Ranching still happens, people still live here, but the infrastructure has thinned to the point where every county function depends on the same handful of residents showing up. Shout out to Harding County for naming their county seat Mosquero and still not making that the worst part of living there. If you think the scale of emptiness maxes out in the desert, the next entry makes these counties look crowded. Number 7. Yakutat Borough, Alaska. Yakutat Borough is so large that the entire state of Connecticut could fit inside it. 7,525 square miles. Population 642. That's a density of 0.08 people per square mile. Yakutat sits on the Gulf of Alaska coast, wedged between the Wrangell-St. Elias Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. It is accessible by air or by sea. There is no road connecting Yakutat to the rest of Alaska's highway system. The economy runs on commercial fishing, primarily salmon, and a small tourism industry built around surfing. Yes, surfing. In Alaska, cold water surfing has become a niche draw for Yakutat, which has consistent breaks and almost nobody in the lineup. The borough government manages a territory larger than some U.S. states with a budget funded primarily by fish tax revenue. Healthcare access is limited to a small clinic. The nearest hospital with surgical capability is in Juneau, which requires a flight. What nobody tells you is that Yakutat was briefly famous in 2002 when the largest non-volcanic landslide in recorded North American history happened in the mountains above the borough, dumping millions of cubic yards of rock into a local lake. Nobody was hurt because there was almost nobody around. Like the video, if you have ever lived somewhere where the wildlife population outnumbered the human one. Because the next county was named for something it never actually delivered. Number 6. Petroleum County, Montana. Petroleum County was named for oil. That's the whole pitch. When the county was established in 1925, optimism about the Permian-era formations underneath central Montana was sky high. The oil did not pan out, not in the way anyone hoped. Today, Petroleum County has 487 people across over 1,600 square miles. The county seat is Winnett, population roughly 150. The economy runs on cattle ranching and antelope hunting. That is not a joke. Petroleum County is one of the premier antelope hunting destinations in Montana, and during season, the hunter population temporarily rivals the resident population. Median household income hovers around $40,000. The county is 98.8% white. There is no hospital in the county. The nearest medical care requires a drive to Lewistown or Roundup, both about an hour away on roads that get brutal in Montana winters. What it feels like is a place that was promised something, named after that promise, and then had to build an identity around what was actually there: grass, cattle, and antelope. I'm not saying Petroleum County has an ironic name. I'm just saying it's like naming your kid Fortune and watching him become an accountant. And if a county named after its own broken promise sounds rough, the next one is held together by a family that has been there since the frontier days. Number 5, Kennedy County, Texas. Almost every acre of Kennedy County has been owned by the same families since the 1860s. Mifflin Kennedy and Richard King came to South Texas in the mid-1800s and built cattle empires that dwarfed most European estates. King's land became the legendary King Ranch. Kennedy's land became Kennedy County. Today, the county has 412 people. Population density is 0.28 people per square mile. This is Gulf Coast, Texas, flat ranch land stretching from Sarita, the county seat, to the Laguna Madre on the coast. Here's the data nobody leads with. The land is still in the descendants' hands. The county is essentially a private fiefdom with a democratic veneer. County government exists, elections happen, but the economic and physical reality is that a handful of families control what happens here because they own the ground it happens on. Median household income data is unreliable for a county this small, but the ranch economy dominates everything. There is no hospital. The nearest meaningful medical care is in Kingsville, about 40 minutes north. What it feels like is less like a county and more like a gated community with a courthouse. Kennedy County did not shrink. It was never meant to grow. And that's the Kennedy County paradox. It is not a ghost county because people left. It is a ghost county because it was privately held from the beginning. If that makes you wonder what happens when a county's population is controlled not by economics but by ownership, you are not alone. Notice the pattern here. Every county we have covered has one thing in common. There are not enough people to run a normal government. Every election is personal. Every budget decision has a name attached to it. Every feud becomes a constitutional crisis. But the counties we have covered so far still have hundreds of residents. The next 5 are below 3 digits. Some of them are below 2. If you are learning something, hit like. It tells the algorithm this is not clickbait. The number 1 spot on this list involves a political takeover attempt, a $60 million budget, and 48 people. I am still not over it. Number 4, Arthur County, Nebraska. Arthur County once had what locals called possibly the smallest courthouse in the country. The original building served the county from 1913 until 1962, and it was barely bigger than a residential garage. The county has 458 people across 715 square miles in the Nebraska Sandhills. It is named after President Chester A. Arthur, which is fitting because most Americans have also forgotten he existed. The county seat is Arthur, a town of roughly 120 people. Median home values hover around $75,000. The landscape is rolling grassland over one of the largest underground aquifers in the world, the Ogallala. Ranching is the primary industry. There is no hospital. The nearest meaningful health care is in North Platte, over an hour east. What nobody tells you is that Nebraska has 5 of the 20 least populated counties in America: Arthur, Blaine, McPherson, Loop, Grant. They cluster in the Sandhills like a constellation of emptiness. The county government operates on a budget that a suburban homeowners association might find modest. School-age children can be counted on fingers. And when a county this small holds an election, everyone knows who voted, how they voted, and what they said about it afterward. And if you think small county politics are awkward at 450 people, wait until you hear what they are like at 200. Number 3, King County, Texas. King County has 215 people. The entire county has one flashing yellow traffic light. That is not folklore. Residents mention that fact with a mix of pride and resignation. Located in the rolling plains of northwest Texas, King County was established in 1876 and named for a lieutenant who was killed at the Battle of the Alamo. The county seat is Guthrie, population roughly 150. Ranching dominates. The Four Sixes Ranch, one of the most iconic cattle operations in American history, occupies a significant portion of the county. Median home prices are difficult to pin down because homes rarely change hands. Property tax rates are low, but so is everything else. There is no hospital, no pharmacy, no chain store of any kind. The nearest grocery run is a 45-minute drive to Paducah or Monday. This is what King County governance looks like. Every elected position matters intensely because every official serves a constituency they see at the gas station. The county judge, the commissioner, the sheriff. These are not anonymous bureaucrats. They are your neighbor. They are the person you borrowed a fence post from last Tuesday. Picture this. You drive into Guthrie on a Saturday. Flat land in every direction. One blinking light. A courthouse that looks like it belongs in a Western film. You could walk the entire town in 8 minutes. Everyone you pass knows your name. That is King County. It is not abandoned. It is just operating on a frequency most of America forgot exists. If 215 people sounds extreme, the next county has 81. The reason why will break your heart. Number 2, Kalawao County, Hawaii. Kalawao County exists because of a quarantine that started in 1866. In the mid-1800s, Hansen's disease, commonly called leprosy, was spreading through the Hawaiian Islands. King Kamehameha V signed the act to prevent the spread of leprosy, and the kingdom began forcibly relocating anyone diagnosed to the Kalaupapa Peninsula on the north shore of Molokai. The peninsula is a natural prison. Sheer cliffs rise over 1,000 feet on 3 sides, and the Pacific Ocean surrounds the rest. For over a century, patients were sent there with no expectation of return. Families were separated, children were taken from parents. By the time effective treatments became available in the 1940s and the 1950s, generations had lived and died on that peninsula. Today, Kalawao County has 81 residents. It is the smallest county in the United States by land area, just 12 square miles. Most of the remaining residents are former patients who chose to stay after the quarantine was officially lifted in 1969. Some have lived there for decades. They are elderly, and the community is shrinking by attrition. The National Park Service co-manages the settlement as the Kalaupapa National Historical Park, and access is tightly restricted. You cannot visit without a permit. There is no county government in the traditional sense. The Hawaii State Department of Health administers services directly. This is not a ghost county because people chose to leave. It is a ghost county because people were sent there against their will, and then, when the world finally said they could go, they looked around and said, "This is home." Kalawao County is less a place and more a monument to what happens when fear makes policy. And if that story hits different from the others, it should, because the number 1 county on this list has the opposite energy entirely. Number 1, Loving County, Texas. Loving County has 48 people and a $60 million annual budget. That's roughly $1 million per resident. The money comes from oil. Loving County sits in the Permian Basin, and oil wells outnumber residents approximately 10 to 1. The only community is Mentone, population roughly 15, no gas station, no grocery store. The nearest supplies are 23 miles away in Pecos. The Pecos River water is so mineral heavy it destroys plumbing within a year. The courthouse in Mentone is yellow brick with Georgia marble floors and pecan wood paneling, remodeled during the oil boom. It looks like it belongs in a state capitol. It serves 48 people. Here is the data nobody leads with. Loving County has been consumed by multi-generational family feuds for decades. The Jones family, the Hoppers, the Kriegers, they've fought over county offices the way empires fight over territory. Courts have confirmed illegal voting and fraudulent registrations across multiple election cycles. More than 40% of collected taxes go to county salaries. In 2023, a judge ruled 10 voters had not demonstrated enough connection to legally vote. In a county of 48, that is not a margin of error. That is a constitutional crisis. And then came Malcolm Tanner. In January 2025, Tanner, a man from Indiana who calls himself Doctor, purchased 2 5-acre parcels of raw desert land for roughly $12,000. He began recruiting supporters online with promises of free homes and $5,000 a month. His goal was to move enough people to win the 2026 elections and take over the county entirely. By August, roughly 30 people had relocated. The reality was a cluster of RVs with no electricity, no water, and caliche roads. In October, Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, obtained a restraining order, calling Tanner a two-bit charlatan. Tanner filed a $450 million civil rights complaint in response. County Judge Don Krieger once said, "If we have 2 people with the flu, that's an epidemic." Picture this: a county with fewer people than a yoga class, a budget most small towns would envy, and a man from out of state who looked at all of it and said, "I can buy this democracy for $12,000. That's the Loving County paradox. Here is what ties this whole list together. America treats every county the same. Same elections, same structure, same offices to fill, whether you have 9.76 million residents or 48. And at the bottom end of that spectrum, the system starts to break. Elections become family feuds. Budgets become power grabs. Governance becomes personal in ways the founding documents never anticipated. Ghost towns make great content. Ghost counties ask harder questions. What is a government without enough people to staff it? What is an election when everyone in the county fits in one room? And what happens when someone from the outside realizes the math is exploitable? 3,143 counties, same structure, very different math. Hit like if you just learned that a county with 48 people has a $60 million budget. Subscribe, because this channel covers the parts of America that the algorithm pretends do not exist. Drop your county population in the comments. Some of you live in ghost counties and do not even know it. If this one hit, go watch our video on the towns so isolated that ambulances cannot reach you in time. The link is on screen.